My name is Nova. Welcome to the Solid Edge Basic Training. From today, we are going to start with the Solid Edge training. This is the agenda for our training. We will start with the introduction, then we will go for user interface, sketching, modeling, assembly, sheet metal, and at the end of the session, we conclude with the drafting. So first, I'm going to launch Solid Edge. Whenever we launch a Solid Edge, you can see this type of window. So first let's start with the discover page. This is the discover tab. Here you will get some videos, some documents related to the Solid Edge. Then this is community tab. From here you can connect with the Solid Edge community. This is the new tab. Whatever the design you are going to start, you can start your designing from this new tab. And this is the open page. Here you can see all the recently open Solid Edge files. You can browse any files from here. And we have a print tab, settings, all the basic settings required for the Solid Edge. You can do that settings from here. Then we have a tools tab. Here there are multiple options, like you can compare the drawing, you can compare the models, you can convert your traditional drawing which is created in ordered, you can convert it into the synchronous mode. Then we have many more options like compound by 3D, find it. Then we have info tab. Here you will get property related to the component which we have opened. You can go to the about Solid Edge. Here you will get all the information about the Solid Edge, which version you are using. So currently we are using Solid Edge 2024. This is the global search bar. If you want to search any command, you can search from here. So this is the UI of the Solid Edge. So let's start here with the sketch. So for sketch, we have to go the new tab. Then we can create a sketch in isometric part modeling, sheet metaling, assembly, drafting, weldment. Whenever you want to create a sketch, you can create a sketch in all 5 environment. First of all, I will explain you what this environment is. So whenever you click on the new button, here you can see different standards are there. So in which standard you want to work, you can start working with that standard. So currently we are going to start with the isometric standard. So I have selected isometric standard. This you can use template for 3D modeling. This template is used for creation of sheet metal components. This is used for creation of weldment assembly component. This is for pure assembly and this is for drafting. So let's get started with the isometric part modeling. So you can select from here or you can directly start from here also. This will launch our Solid Edge 3D modeling environment. So in this environment, we will get all the 3D commands. So if you want to start with the sketching, we have to switch inside the sketch button. So before switching to the sketch, I will give the short summary of this page. So this is our base, which we can call this as a coordinate system. This is the material. From here, now you create a right click here button. You can assign a material. Then we have base reference planes. You can turn it off. Currently we are in ordered mode. You can switch into the transition mode also. Transition to the synchronous mode also. So let's get started with the ordered mode. So first, always start your design isometric view. So press Ctrl plus I. We'll switch in the isometric mode. I'm just clicking on the sketch button. So this prompt will open. So this will ask for select plane, on which plane you want to create your sketch. So I'm going to select a XY plane. So now we are in sketch environment. So there are different commands like creation of line, circle, square. So let's create some basic shapes here. So first of all, start with the line. Make sure whenever you create a design, make sure it is always easy for the designer to make our coordinate system or base at the center of the sketch. So first draw some lines. So these are the lines we can create. So here you can see it will suggest some options like it will by default make it horizontal, vertical. So here you can see the sketch color is blue. That means the sketch is not fully constant. Whenever I select any corner point, I can move that sketch. To fix that sketch, we have to apply the constraint. So before applying the constraint, there is a basic setting you have to make sure it is on. So I'm just going to delete this sketch. So whenever you start sketch with the solid, make sure these four commands are on. Maintain relationship, relationship handle, relationship color, and alignment indicators. So make sure these four commands should be on. It will be help us to make our sketch constant. So from this you can draw lines, you can insert a point, you can draw a free sketch. From here you can draw a circle. So I will use each command one by one. So from here I can draw a line. It will suggest me the points. You can, if you want to escape from the command, you can click escape button on keyboard. Then if you want to insert a point, you can insert a point. For example, I want to insert a point at the cross section point of these two lines. So I just hover my mouse to these lines. It will show the cross button. Here I can insert a point. I can click the escape button. Then if you want to draw free form sketch, you can draw free form sketch. It will create sketch accordingly. So currently I don't need this. Then you can create circles by using different points. So I want to create a circle at the center of this block. Now you can create rectangles by center, by 2 point, 3 point. You can create polygon. While creating a polygon, you can define the sides. From here, you can apply a fillet chamfer. It is a best practice to do not use this fillet and chamfer for sketch. It is the best to apply fillet and chamfer for 3D models only. But you can apply from here also. But for the best practice, we apply on 3D models. So from here, you can draw arc. So for example, along this line I want to draw arc, so I can draw arc. You can create a 3 point arc also. For example, from this point to this point I want to draw arc. Okay, then we have option to create a spline lines. So you can create a spline lines also. I'm going to use Ctrl Z or simply delete, select and delete. Then you can trim the lines. Like if I have created something like this, I want to trim the lines, so you can click on the trim. You can trim, you can select the line or draw a line to trim the line. Then we have a trim corner. For example, if there are multiple lines like that, then you just use a trim corner. So if I select these two line, another two line will remove. Then we have a extend to the next. So whenever I click this line, it will get extended. It will get extended up to this point. So at the next, the line got reference, it will get extended. From here, it can extend up to this place and extend up to this line. So right now, we cannot extend this line because there is no references for this line to extend. Then we have a split line. Any line you want to split, select the line, select the point at which you want to split. So at this point I want to split the line, click the escape. You can see this line is different, this line is different. This is the sketch. And then we have offset sketch. You can create offset. So I will just delete this. I want to offset this sketch, click on the offset button, select the sketch, click right click or click on accept, define the distance at what distance you want to extend. I want to extend for the 10 mm. So here you can see you can extend multiple times also. Just escaping this, Control Z, or you can simply trim the lines. Okay, so this is the offset button. Then we have a symmetric option also. Whenever you draw a line, This is command useful for slots. So when I click on the symmetric offset, you can from here you can define the width, radius, and define the end cap, whether it is a square, whether it is arc, or whether it is a offset arc. And just simply click on OK. Select the line, click right click, you will create a symmetric offset. And then we have a move option. You can move any sketch, select the sketch, select the pick point, move anywhere you want. You can create a multiple copies also. Simply click on the move, turn on this copy button, select the sketch, select the center point, move. You can move multiple times, and you can create a multiple copies also. Okay, then I don't want these copies. I'm simply going to delete those copies. Then we have a rotate option. You can rotate your sketch, select the line, select the start point, select the end point, and select the angle at which you want to rotate. You can keep the copy button on, you can turn off the copy button. Okay, similarly you can create a multiple copies. So currently I don't want this line, I'm simply deleting this line. Okay, then we have mirror option. Suppose this sketch I want to mirror according to this line or this line, will get mirrored. Then we have another option to scale. Suppose this sketch I want to scale, select the sketch, select the start point, you can scale up to any scale. Suppose I want to scale up to 2 times, it will get scaled. Okay, then we have a stretch option. You can stretch the sketch, select the sketch, select the stretch, and you can stretch at any point. Then we have different option like project to sketch. Suppose now my sketch is ready, I just close this sketch. Okay, now this sketch, you can see this sketch is on XY plane. I want this sketch on some other than another plane. So what I will do, I will create another plane. So there are multiple options to create plane: parallel, angle, perpendicular. So I want to create a parallel plane. I will select the parallel command option, select the plane from which I want to create a parallel plane, select the plane reference plane, and at 500 mm I want to create another plane. I have selected this plane, click. Now I want to project this sketch to this sketch. So I will go simply go to the sketch, select the plane. So it will you enter into the sketch environment. Now I will click on the escape button. I will use this project sketch command. Okay, I don't want to project with the offset or any loop. I would just want to project the sketch. Click OK. Then select the sketch. I want to sketch entire. I want to project entire sketch. So I will select wireframe chain. Select this also. So it will get projected here. Sorry. Select again. Select the project sketch. Select the sketch. This is the sketch. Click OK. Now when I click on close sketch. Here you can see sketch get created. So this is the project command. Now this is our tree. You can call it as a pathfinder. Currently I am going to delete this. Okay. So let's switch into the sketch environment again. Now we have another option like to create a construction line. So construction lines mean the reference lines. Currently whenever create a line, this is the reference line. So if you want to create a construction line, you can turn on this construction line option and draw a construction line. So it will not get extruded whenever we extrude the sketch. So I will turn on this construction option on, then I can draw lines. Sorry, you can convert any line into the construction line. So this is a simple line. I want to convert this line into the construction. Select the construction, select the line, it will get converted into construction line. Now if you want to create a line as a construction line, so you can turn on this create construction option and draw any line, it will create as a construction lines. Okay, now so you can use this command for creation of construction lines, which is used for references. So it will uh, not conflict with your extrude option. Now then we have going to turn off the create construction of line option off. This is clean sketch. If you want to clean any sketch outside this sketch, it will get clean. So if I select this, right click any, for example, by mistakenly you draw a free sketch anywhere in this window. so it will get scratch. So when I click on the clean sketch, select the area and right click the, so here you can see when I select the area, here the lines which are less than this dimension get deleted. Okay, so you can use that command also. Currently I'm doing this manually. Now we have option to convert to curve. So whenever in the straight line you have created, you want to convert this line into the curve, you can click on the convert to curve, select the line, and then you can select that line and draw a curve. Select the lines, draw a curve. Just drag the line. Okay. This way you can convert any line into the curve. Okay. Then we have a fill option. If you want to fill any area, you can just simply select the area. It will get filled. You can change the texture from here, like how much angle you want to give of the uh, section lines, or the spacing you can maintain from here. So I currently I don't want this. I'm just control Z. Then we have frame option, frame origin. So if you are going to create custom frames, in that case you can use this frame option. So I can teach you this advanced session. This is a auto scale option. So you want to, if you give any dimension to the one side, it will get auto scaled. So we'll switch into the dimension mode. So this is the smart dimension option. From this button you can apply any dimension, like whether it is a linear, angular, or circular dimension. So I want to add the dimension. So I will give the dimension to the this line. I want to make this as a 500. When I click on enter, here you can see the scale get auto, sketch will get auto scaled. Okay, so other lines also get auto scaled. So here you can see the sketch has been auto scaled. Then I want to add dimension to this line. So this I want to make 250. Okay. Now I want to add dimension to this circle. So click smart dimension, select, place the dimension. This I want to make 50. Okay. Now this dimension I want to make as a 200. Okay. Then here you can see sketch is not get fully constrained. How we can say that sketch is not fully constrained? By here you can see sketch color is blue. So that means this is not get fully constrained. When sketch is fully constrained, it convert into the black color. So convert your sketch into the fully constrained, you can do using dimensioning or constraining. It is the best practice to use a minimum dimension and use maximum constraint. So here if I want to check where I have to apply the dimension, just select any line and drag a line. So here you can see this is still moving. So what I have to do, I have to fix this point. So here we have a multiple option to constrain our sketch. This is a connect. You can connect this point to this point. This get constrained, but other dimensions are getting disturbed. So I'm going to just control Z. What I will do, I will first fix this dimension. So I will apply the dimension here. This I want to make as a 75. Okay, and then I have to, okay, now this, okay, now sketch, I think it is fully fixed now sketch. Just I want to make the location of the sketch. So you can do using a connect option. You can connect this point with this point. Okay, you can, here you can see this sketch is converted into black color. Okay, I'm just using the control Z. You can use the horizontal vertical option also, like I want to make this line horizontal with this, or if you have drawn in a tilt line, you can convert this line into the horizontal vertical. You can convert this line into horizontal vertical. Okay, then we have option to tangent. Suppose I have draw any circle, I have added dimension to that circle, and suppose this circle I want to make tangent with this 500 line. You can use tangent offset, select the circle, select the line, it will get tangent. This is the tangent constant symbol. So I'm going to just delete this symbol and delete this circle. Then we have option to make a line parallel. Suppose I have drawn any line and that line dimension is also 500, and now I want to make this line parallel with this line. You can use a parallel command. So this line, this line. So these line are getting parallel. This is parallel line symbol. I'm just going to select Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z, Ctrl Z. Then we have equal line option. Suppose I want to make this 200 and 200 equal. What I will do, I will delete this dimension first and I will select equal. So this line and this line I want to make it equal. So here you can see these two lines are get equal. Then we have perpendicular option. Suppose I have a draw a line here. I want to make this line perpendicular to this line. You can use a perpendicular option here. Perpendicular this. So this will get perpendicular. This is a perpendicular logo. You can delete that logo also, and again you can change the line. Okay, this is I use perpendicular option. Then we have symmetric option. So what that symmetric option is does, suppose I have drawn a square a rectangle and this rectangle dimension is 200 and it is a 200 by 200, so I will make that equal. Now I want to make this sketch in symmetric with the y-axis. So what I will do, I will select the symmetric. It will ask me to click on the symmetric axis. So this is my symmetric axis. Then it will ask for the element. So this is the first element, this is the second element. You can see this is automatically get symmetric along this y plane. Now I want to make this rectangle symmetric along x-axis also. Then you cannot use the symmetric button here right now, because for that button we have defined symmetric axis as a y-axis. Now I want to make x-axis as a symmetric axis. So here we have option to define the symmetric axis. This is symmetric axis. Now I want to make x as a symmetric axis. Then I will go with the symmetric button. Then select the element first, then select the second element. You will get symmetric along x and y plane. Okay, that way you can use those command. Then I will delete this sketch. Now I will draw another line. Suppose this line I have drawn, that line dimension is also 150. Now I want to make this line collinear with this line. So I will use collinear option. So this line and this line get collinear. Okay. So this is the collinear option. Then we have lock option. Suppose I have drawn any sketch. This sketch is not currently constant. So when I use lock, select the whole sketch. You can see whole sketch get locked. Okay. Then similarly we have a rigid option, which is we want to make both sketch in a rigid set. So first I have drawn a sketch here, then I have another sketch here, and now I want to whenever I make this sketch lock, but when I draw this, I will make this sketch as a constant. So this I want 500, this is equal to this. Then I want to make this sketch as a 450 and this is 100. Okay. Whenever I move this sketch, it will move independently. This sketch also move independently. If you want to move in a set, both sketches, then you can make a set, rigid set, select OK. So whenever you move any sketch, both sketch get moved. Sorry, it gets locked. So what I will do, I will delete these dimensions. Here you can see both sketches are moving as a rigid set. I'm going to delete this. Then we have option in the sketch. Whenever you draw a line, if you want the end point, center point, midpoint, you can turn this option on. Okay. Then you can assign the local zone for our cursor. Okay. So these are the dimension. We can go deep dive for the dimension in drafting session. So this is all about sketching. I hope you are getting basic of the solid sketch. Thank you, and we will meet again for the 3D modeling session.